Hello, and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today, we are going to be finishing up Acts chapter 22. I am going to be reading verses 25 through 30, starting with the English Standard Version. But when they had stretched him out for the whips, Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, "Is it lawful for you to flog a man who is a Roman citizen and uncondemned?" When the centurion heard this, he went to the tribune and said to him, "What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman citizen." So the tribune came and said to him, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" And he said, "Yes." The tribune answered, "I bought this citizenship for a large sum." Paul said, "But I am a citizen by birth." So those who were about to examine him withdrew from him immediately, and the tribune also was afraid, for he realized that Paul was a Roman citizen and that he was bound. But on the next day, desiring to know the real reason why he was being accused by the Jews, he unbound him and commanded the chief priests and all the council to meet, and he brought Paul down and set him before them. All right. New Century Version. But as the soldiers were tying him up, preparing to beat him, Paul said to an officer nearby, "Do you have the right to beat a Roman citizen who has not been proven guilty?" When the officer heard this, he went to the commander and reported it. The officer said, "Do you know what you are doing? This man is a Roman citizen." The commander came to Paul and said, "Tell me, are you really a Roman citizen?" He answered, "Yes." The commander said, "I paid a lot of money to become a Roman citizen." But Paul said, "I was born a citizen." The men who were preparing to question Paul moved away from him immediately. The commander was frightened because he had already tied Paul, and Paul was a Roman citizen. The next day, the commander decided to learn why the Jews were accusing Paul. So he ordered the leading priests and the council to meet, and the commander took Paul's chains off. Then he brought Paul out and stood him before their meeting. Okay, so this is where Paul kind of has a huge advantage. Not only was he a Jew, he was also a Roman citizen. So neither side could do anything to him without being properly proven guilty. And he knew that. So he would always wait until the very last second, and then he would tell them who he is, which frightened everyone. It frightened both the Jews and the Romans. Now, is that something that works today? Not really. We can't really claim that we are this or that just to get out of trouble. Unfortunately, and this is something that Christians should never do, period, the end, because our faith should be 100% in God. The one thing that does work more than not in today's world, and it probably worked a little bit back then too, is paying people off to not get accused or not get the certain punishment that was coming to them. That is, like I say, that's what works today. We can't sit here and say, "Well, I am a citizen of this country, so you can't do anything to me." A lot of countries don't like each other, and they really don't care about the citizenship. Some countries have respect for it, and they do go through proper channels. But other countries, like I say, they don't care. They'll do whatever they want. So So we, like I say, we don't have that advantage, and I'm repeating myself, and I apologize. But what we need to do, and what Paul is doing here, is not only is he trying to get himself out of trouble, he knows he's going to be in jail regardless. But he is wanting a chance to not only talk to the Jews, but he is wanting a chance to talk to the Romans, explaining his whole situation, and at the same time trying to bring them to Christ. That is what his goal is. His goal is now 100% focused on Christ. The way I describe Paul is, before he was converted, he gave his life 100% to being a Pharisee. He thought he was doing God's will, and he gave that, like I say, 100%. And then when Jesus confronted him on the way to Damascus, and he was converted and started bringing people to Christ, again, 100% of him went towards that. He didn't let anything stop him, including going to jail. So, following Paul's example is a good thing. Following Christ's example is the most important thing. If we follow Christ's example, then it would be really no problem to be also following Paul's, because Paul followed Christ's example. So I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful, God-centered day. Bye.